Hello, everyone. We welcome all of you to Fintelligence's today's event on the intelligence finance. We have invited some of the top experts and our advisors and mentors of intelligence who have particular experience and expertise on that field. So I welcome all of you today. And if you have any questions during the session, you can ask your question in the chat box. So my name is Nurul. Hi, I am the host and moderator of today's event, and I'm also involved in investment, private equity investment. So today I am inviting all of the panelists, wonderful panelists today, to introduce themselves one by one. Diana, would you start?
Yes. Hello, everyone. I'm Diana Dimofte. I'm a strategic advisor and executive partner at the intersection of finance, AI, and societal transformation. With over 20 years in financial services, I now work with purpose led founders and leaders navigating the shifts brought by AI, not just in tech, but in identity, culture, and trust. For me, AI isn't just about automation, it's about alignment. It's not just a tool, it's a mirror. I'm here to share both practical insights and deep patterns emerging in this space, especially how we can build resilient, ethical, and emotionally intelligent businesses in this new era. I believe the future of business isn't just data driven, it's human centered and emotionally intelligent. And it's already here. So thank you for having me today.
Great introduction, Diana. We are
Thank
already
you.
very encouraged. Yeah. John, would you please go ahead?
Yeah, thank you. My name is John Olaunipekun. I live in London and I've had the opportunity for last close to 20 years to work in banking, payments on several roles, from operations to business development to strategy to enterprise development. And I've also worked alongside executives in crafting strategies to scale businesses. I've also had the opportunity to work with one of the biggest payments facilitator in the world, MasterCard, where I performed a global role interfacing with over 200 countries on how to scale businesses across those regions, multiple regions, Asia, Europe, Middle East, Africa. I've also had the opportunity to mentor startup CEOs where we were just starting out, looking for funding, looking for how to scale their business. My key strengths, I'm a business person. And so most times when I sit down with startup CEOs, most of them tech, I always tell them, you've got fantastic ideas, you've got fantastic products. How do you translate that to money? Investment opportunities and returns for investors, because if you don't do that, you're going to be out of business soon. It doesn't matter how important your idea is, your business, you've got to scale it. And as you look at how to solve real life problems, you also have to think about how to translate that to business opportunities. I'm very happy to be here and happy to speak to everyone. AI is a very interesting subject. I must confess, in the beginning, I wasn't a big fan because I'm very traditionalist. But in the last couple of years, become one of the biggest advocate for it because, like Diana said, it's here to stay. It's a moving train. Some of the biggest tech companies in the world are investing massively in AI. And that just shows you that these very smart people who have scaled businesses in billions of dollars understand that the future is here. And for every upcoming investor, upcoming startup CEO, you have to tap into it. But there is a regulatory part. There is the part of being fair. Is it doing the right thing? Do we need to iterate some of the ideas it has? And I believe this audience today and this spectacular speakers would address that. So thank you for having me here.
Great start, John. Um, Salim, would you go ahead?
Yeah, good evening, everybody. My name is Salim Al Ghafri from Dubai. And I'm as an advisor in Ministry for Economic in UAE. I have the chairman of innovation committee in the ministry. Plus, I have so many members in different committees, international wise, like the Ladies Business Council in UAE and in Jeddah, Saudi, and in India. I have been in this field since 20 years in innovation, AI, and we have different experience with different market, some in the government sector and some in the private sector with the business, with the businessmen and the SMEs. So I'm very happy today to join this important discussion on the impact of the AI on the financial sector and the SMEs. So inshallah, we will give a good what we have, what best we have from experience, what can we support this file. And it's very important file from not even from SMEs, but in worldwide. So AI, it's something is bigger than we can discuss in one seminar or one discussion point. And inshallah, we hope that we can achieve what we are looking for.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. So, I'm making sure I've admitted everyone so that we can start the important discussion. So we have received plenty of questions today from our forums, Microsoft Forms, and I'll ask all the questions one by one so that you can answer. So feel free, anyone can answer and explain from the point of view of the. Today we have mainly the audience from the banking sector, entrepreneurs. There are many entrepreneurs and founders. And there are also some enthusiastic people who want to deploy AI and automation into their business. So today's discussion will be extremely valuable, like how we'll discuss it and how it can be useful for them. So the first question is from the banking sector. So it is about AI is transforming the entire banking sector, starting from like customer experience, then chatbot, and also personal recommendation and real-time customer onboarding. So especially the bankers want to know about it. So how AI will disrupt this sort of banking practices, not only in the developed market, but also in the like emerging markets, like in South Asia or Southeast Asia or many parts of the African markets. So how AI will impact the banking industry in terms of customer experience, chatbot, personalized recommendation, and also online transact. So what's your view, panelist, if you can answer?
I can start, or John, you want to start?
Yeah, please. Go ahead, Diana.
Go ahead, Diana.
So in banking, AI is transforming the customer experience from something static and transactional into something adaptive and intelligent. So yes, we see 24/7 chatbots, personalized recommendations, real-time onboarding, but the real transformation is in the underlying shift from the reactive to predictive service. So for example, banks are now able to understand patterns in user behavior, anticipate needs, and tailor experiences without sacrificing compliance or security. And this is huge. But here is a deeper opportunity to use AI not just to automate touchpoints, but to build trust through empathy-aware design, transparent algorithms, and systems that generally understand customers' lives, not just their data. So banks that get this right won't just improve service, they will redefine what relationship banking means in the 21st century. So the advice is not to just digitize the interface, because the relational intelligence is the real revolution. Thank you.
Great answer. John, you have worked for a long time in the banking sector, and what changes are you seeing, like in the banking sector in everyday life, and how? That? Yeah. Please go ahead.
So a couple of years ago, I'll give you real life experiences. A couple of years ago, I was doing relationship management for an high street bank in Nigeria, I think the biggest bank in Nigeria. And I had 4,000 customers to manage. And all these customers were HNIs, very high network individuals who expected, like Diana said, personalized service. There was no way I was going to cope. It just wasn't impossible. It wasn't possible. And to take my business to the next level, I remember them speaking to a project manager. AI, of course, wasn't in there. This was 2015, 2016, where I was telling him, could you run me a project where I can understand the needs of my customers? Like, for example, if my customers spend money traveling for summer. I want to be able to sell them USD cards when it's time for summer. If my customer sends money to his kids, for example, in schools in Canada, I want to sell supplementary debit cards for them. So I was then having this conversation with this PM, and he was telling me, John, you're dreaming, right? This is going to happen. There's simply no bandwidth within the bank. There isn't any budget to do that. Now I'm no longer in relationship management. I wish I was, because I would have been able to solve that problem. And like Diana's really said, you can now sell personalized banking. You can sell, if you see someone has got so much money in their bank account, savings, you can sell personalized financial advice, and you can help them. And what happens is, when you want to retain customers, I always say these things to bankers to say, most banks sell the same product. Put HSBC next to Lloyd's Bank, next to NatWest and all that. They sell the same products. Their rates are similar because it's all regulated. What differentiates Bank A from Bank B, or what will make me stay with one bank versus the other, is the personalized service I get, essentially, because it's not pricing. Most people, prices are the same thing. But so what AI is going to give, and if you've got any bankers on the call, if you're into business development, you're trying to scale business, you have targets to meet, you can use it to sell personalized services. You can have targeted marketing ideas that you would give to specific customers. And so, like I said, when I had 4,000 customers, I wished I had a tool who could tell me, so these are your customers who travel for summer. So these are the ones who have kids who are in the West. So these are the ones who've got savings lying in their bank account and they're not doing anything with it. I would have been able to sell targeted products because I had a whole suite of products to sell. And sometimes I was selling the wrong thing to the wrong person. For example, I could be selling a kiddies account to somebody who is retiring, and they'll be like, John, what are you talking about? I've got kids who are of your same age. So AI is going to change the way we do banking. It's going to change. It's already changing it. And from a customer experience perspective, how would you feel if maybe every summer you go for holidays and you've been struggling to do exchanges on your local cards? And somebody comes to you and says, hey, we've got this card. It's just been launched by MasterCard or Visa card or whatever channel, and this would help you during summer. And you're just 2 months to go to summer. It will feel like the person has known your life. No, that's AI. So the data is out there, structured data that can be interpreted, can be used for targeted audience. And we have to get on board as bankers, as people who are trying to scale business in the financial space.
Right. Right. So thanks for sharing your own experience and comparing two scenarios so that we can understand. Dr. Salim, you're working for the government for a long time, and I believe you have done plenty of transaction within banking system and also, other sectors. So what kind of change you see the impact of AI?
Well, I think AI is enabling a faster, more than personalized and efficient banking through, I will give 4 examples. 24/7 chatbot, like what Ms. Diana said. For example, Bank of America, Erica, it served over 25 million users answering a financial queries effectively. Personalized recommendation, as Mr. John mentioned. AI analyzed a customer behavior and offer the trailer of the credit card, loans, investment advice. Real-time onboarding. Also, we can see AI powered by KYC, which is Know Your Customer, which is very important on this field. Processing using computer vision to reduce onboarding time from days to minutes, like in Singapore. It's a big example in DSP Bank in Singapore. They reduce opening account from 4 days to under 10 minutes. So when we saw this kind of information, these kind of details, it gives us a huge thing and a message that AI is very important even in the field in banking field. So yeah, I will not add more. Everybody have a good
completely agree.
experience. They cover all they said. Yeah.
And we see how, especially United Arab Emirates, they are very serious about investing in AI. The last few weeks, we have seen what happened with the US and other part of the world.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So we are also very encouraged to see such development around the world. And yeah, we are getting some questions from the chat box, but let me ask serially one by one. So the second question is regarding credit evaluation. And one of the gentlemen, Mr. Shudip, he has also asked the same question regarding credit risk management. So I know John, Diana, Dr. Salam, you have some experience like credit evaluation and credit risk management. From your perspective, if you can just highlight a bit about AI will actually impact the credit risk management, uh, if anybody wants to answer.
I can go first.
Okay.
Or yeah, okay.
Yeah,
So AI is okay. AI is bringing both speed and inclusivity to credit evaluation. So traditional models often rely on limited financial history, and we know that. And this leaves millions underbanked or misclassified. But AI changes all that. It can now analyze alternative data like utility payments, mobile phone usage, and even behavioral signals to
yeah.
build a more holistic picture of creditworthiness. That means faster loan decisions, wider access, and reduced bias when done right. And the key here is when done right, because these models are only as fair and accurate as the data and assumptions behind them. So governance becomes essential. Regulators and lenders alike need to ensure explainability, auditability, and fairness are baked into the system. We're not replacing traditional scores, we're expanding the lens. And that opens doors for financial inclusion, especially in regions like South Asia and the UAE, where entrepreneurial energy is high, but formal credit histories are often thin. So
Yeah.
this isn't just better risk modeling, it's economic justice through pattern recognition. Thank you.
Great, great. I know, John, you are an expert of credit risk management. So you can just, if you can highlight how AI can be used and how it impacted credit risk management.
So for credit risk, AI is quite critical, and one of the first things that will come to my head is speed. When you have loan applications, which you can turn around in quick time, you can get as much data as you can, people's credit worthiness, for people who, and I'm very passionate about financial inclusion. I'm going to speak about it a little bit here, especially for developing economies. You've got a lot of brilliant ideas that need funding and need access to credit, and they've got something you call teen credit histories, because the most of the credit brokers out there, people who put together these histories, have some specialized standard documentation or stuff they assume as credit worthiness, right? And so when you've got people who wouldn't have as much history as that, you would need, for AI gives them the opportunity for alternative data sources where people can get your transaction history, do you pay rent regularly, and there's a lot of things that can go in that space for credit worthiness. Also, it makes the process very faster. Decision making is much better, and it reduces processing times. And this helps businesses to scale. I'm going to talk a little bit about the bias that AI we need to be very careful of.
Yeah.
Now,
I may also request John, since you have talked about the alternative data history. So for the understanding of the audience, if you can just explain it little bit, because it's a very important point. So what do you mean by alternative data history and how it can be collected by the banks?
So banks can, for example, if in the UK, if you do not lend, if you've not maybe accessed a loan, accessed the credit card, you've got something the banks will call it very thin credit history. And so banks would sort of be wary of onboarding you when you come to apply for loans, for example. What alternative data sources can talk about is sources like, what's your social media activity? What's your access to your transaction history? Can you merge? So for example, if I'm John and setting up a business and I've got data from my credit, I'm an immigrant in the UK and I've got data from outside the country, which in some cases people are sort of touchy about and say, oh, we don't know stuff. AI can pull all this data, give it to a decision maker. And one thing very critical is we have to add a human layer to AI. I always say this: when you get the data, as much as you get the data pretty fast, it's your job as a human who sits on those credit information to look at it, analyze it, and merge it to. So if somebody's been in the UK, for example, for 12 months, have been in the US for 12 months, you're trying to access credit, What is their history outside the UK? What are other things you can look at to bring together and give you that confidence to lend to them? So as a person starting paying rent, if you've paid rent in the UK for 1 year, is it via direct debit? Is it via, you can pull together all this data and use it to gauge what their credit worthiness could be. And if you maybe go to Experian, you go to Credit Karma or the credit agency, and they say, okay, there's very little data to give on this person. You can augment that by all these alternative sources. And when it comes to the buyers, now on AI, you have to understand that, as Diana said, AI is as good as the data that goes into them. And for some of these developing countries, countries who do not have structured data that fits into the model that AI actually accepts, it could give you some bias or skew data in a biased way. So you have to be careful to understand. So for example, if I've lived in a location that is probably known for crime rate and my address is there, and you run some models, it might see you, oh, you're not credit worthy. No, it doesn't have to be. So there are some biases that we have to be careful when it comes to credit processing and allowing people. I think the goal of some of these developing countries is to get as much financial inclusion as possible, because some of the biggest stories in the world of countries who have turned their lives around in the last 40, 50 years, Singapore is a classic example, is access to credit, encouraging entrepreneurs to bring their ideas to the fore, get it backed up by regulatory support, get funding. And people who got brilliant ideas all over the world, in the corner of the world. I've spoken sometimes to CEOs of startups, and they've got some fantastic ideas. And I'm like, there was a guy I was speaking to, the idea is he's just got one competitor in the UK. It's based somewhere in Lagos, Nigeria. And the competitor in the UK, when I did some digging, I've got that product from San Francisco. So I was telling him, do you know this idea you've got? I mean, you're in your own lane. But what is this problem? Funding. Because when it applies to funding in the West, everybody's saying, we don't know you. So AI can help with alternative sources. We have to be careful about the bias and try to have the human layer. AI is not shouldn't work on its own. It gives you the data. You've got to sit down, you've got to interpret it as much as you can, and also have the human touch, the empathy, trying to analyze the data. I'm not saying give money for free as a bank. I'm saying have someone have a look at the data. Is it skewed? Is it giving you the right information? Do you need to dig deeper? Have that human layer and credit history and everything. Bring it together and it will help your decision-making processes.
Right. So very important point, because we have seen traditional ways of doing credit scoring, but how AI has changed that to alternative, data collection and alternative, all those stuffs, plus what you have said, like human machine interface, the another layer with AI. So that has already taken into action in many countries, and we have seen like the speed, the cost cut, and all those benefits around the world. Dr. Salam, you want to add anything on credit risk management?
I think, in my opinion, AI use alternative data such as online behavior, mobile usage, and even social media activities. If we see to the companies like this, AI and Upstart, and the Upstart report 20% increases in credit scoring accuracy compared to the traditional model. And companies like Alzis or Upstart, they decrease the unnecessary loan rejection by 27% and increase the approval by 173% without increasing default rate.
Yeah.
So if we go through that information or that data, and we see how fast can be the process, and from the other side, we see how fast can the business be run.
Absolutely.
So AI, AI is very, very important to use. The main is not what is the AI? The main is how to use the AI, how we implement the AI in the business, especially in SMEs, in banking, in any type of field. I think AI, we don't have a problem with the AI. We have a problem with us. The knowledge of AIs, how we use the AIs, how we implement the AI with the right place. Yeah. And most of the points which I have mentioned, mashallah, they have
and I also know you are also chairman of the innovation committee, right? In Dubai.
Yep.
So what sort of change
Exactly.
are you seeing over there? What are the changes, or what are the recent?
Oh, a lot of things. A lot of things. Now in UAE, we are focusing in innovation, especially in the process. We don't believe that the customer have to wait till he get his license or till he get his business start. We have the add value, how we think what the customer need before he asks. I give you an example. We have one in banking. Now, anybody who want to invest in UAE, he need an account, he need a house, he need a school, he need everything. By using AI, we know how he think. We provide for him by each license, home rate, school rate, what the life rate he would like to know more. Opening account just in one click. Once he just open an account, every details will come to him without any permission. So that when we implement that kind of AI, and we know we have the both side benefit. One side from us as a government, we know who are they to came. We have a very good history how they think. So then we can build a good nation for the 2023 for the future.
Right.
Yep. I will talk on this one. I will not finish till 4 hours, but inshallah we will.
Very good points, and we are very happy to learn those points. Thanks for.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure.
The next point is about compliance and regulation, and very interesting question has come up from Dogan. The question is about, like, since due to regulations and privacy, getting data is challenging. So what sort of strategy can be taken to train such customer data? This is a very good question. So we can see, in many parts of there are regulations, like also there are privacy policies for the customers, and often it is difficult to get the data due to these regulation and privacy policies. And the beautiful question, I think it is asking about, like, what strategy that banks or financial institutions or businesses they can use to train such customer data. So what's your answer? Anyone wants to start? John, Diana?
Okay, let me start. I was looking to Diana. She's a regulatory expert. So for me, when it comes to data, and it's quite a sensitive subject, and I live in the UK where GDPR is massive, and there's a lot of data protection rules out there. I think partnering with regulators is going to be critical. You have to sit down with the regulators and harness what data. And also another thing you could do is partner with some of the biggest giants. I'll give you a classic example. Visa yesterday launched an AI that could book your holiday and do all the shopping, everything you want to do, book your flight and all that, by just reviewing your data. And I was listening to the EVP who was presenting it, and data came up. Someone he preempted it, and the video is on LinkedIn. You can have a look at it. And he was saying, when I give access, and this is my card, so my money, and so if you're into payments, your 16 digits is your PAN, right? And so that is critical data. Apart from that, your spending habits. What do you spend on? If you like fishing, for example, because AI is going to want to have access to that to give you suggestions, right? So if you say plan my trip to Miami, for example, and give me suggestions, it has to have access to your spending history, has to have access to what you've done. And to me, what I think is you can have access to data without actually knowing who the person behind the data is. Because it's so GDPR comes into play, and this is very critical, is when you can match that data to a specific person. If it is generic data that can be harnessed to probably a certain demography, a certain character behavior, a certain user behavior, in some countries, and UK is very huge on data privacy, it's fine. It's when you can add that data to a specific person, then you're breaching that person's data. So what banks usually would do will group people or group customers into certain demographics, and what is their spending pattern, what is their user behavior. And when it comes to stuff like cards, payments, that's where the part of tokenization comes in, right? Where your PAN is protected, and for each payment you authorize AI, and I love what it is a lot. So I'm going to try this Visa product as soon as it's out. It generates the token just once, right? So after that, that data, it's no longer useful. So to me, I would say partner with regulators, sit down with them. AI is a moving train. Regulators are aware of it, right? They are aware of it. Speak to people like Dan, who are MLROs, ex-MLROs, consultants who've got a lot of regulatory experience. Try to preempt what you see the regulator. For example, in the UK, there's a lot of regulations right now towards fraud and all that. So try to preempt where they are going to and map your strategy alongside those processes. AI is good. Regulatory is important because everything that is without regulation is going to crash someday. So you have to partner with the regulators, listen to the experts, access data as much as possible. As a bank, if you're a bank, you're willing to, and I sit down with my chief data officer a lot of time. When I'm talking GDPR, he will tell me, John, as long as it doesn't match the particular person, you're not breaching. So speak with the experts, involve them, take AI as part of your strategy when you're sitting down. Have your chief data officer, regulatory guys, MLRO, head of compliance, let them sit in the room with you, give you the guardrails of what you can achieve and what you cannot, and plan around that. That would be my advice.
Great answer. Particularly like the partnership with regulator, this is the crucial. And I can differentiate like from, Asia and some of the Southeast Asian or South Asian countries, we don't have open banking yet. There are some issues. So it will be developing like over the years. But yes, like the GDPR in UK and sort of regulation that we should follow, it is very critical. And related question is like fraud detection and regulatory compliance. So Diana, do you have any comment on that?
Yes,
How?
yes, I do. But thanks, John. You covered beautifully the data protection bit, so well done. Yeah, so in respect to this point, AI is quite reshaping the entire nervous system of risk management. So not only in banking, but in fintech. It's important to know what we have now and what's coming next. So right now, what we have is traditional rules-based systems, which are reactive. We have AI models which spot subtle anomalies across thousands of transactions in real time, and they flag risks that humans would miss. AI which resolves false identities to spot hidden fraud rings or insider collusion. And in some banks, we have generative AI that is now drafting suspicious activity reports. Do you have those in Asia?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, already. Yeah.
And we also have behavioral biometrics. For example, typing rhythm, mouse movement, mobile gestures. These are being tracked to spot fraudulent actors posing as legitimate users.
Yeah.
So it's no longer about what you do, but how you do it that's being analyzed. So that's what we have now. What's coming next is AI will soon correct, retrain, and recalibrate internal controls based on real-time feedback because it learns and it improves constantly. Because regulators are demanding transparency, the next generation of AI tools will self-document and provide decision justifications to auditors, supervisors, and regulators. And beyond compliance, AI will monitor early signs of misconduct before a breach occurs. Think of it as a proactive ethics surveillance. So AI won't just detect fraud, it will anticipate risk, it will translate regulation, and one day it will protect a company's reputation.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great. And I should come to Dr. Salem regarding one of the beautiful questions regarding how AI is disrupting the fintech business model, and you are leading innovations. So yeah, and if you have any comment on the previous question.
To add something for the question what gentlemen have been asked, which this regarding which strategy. I think there is a several type or a several chance to get that one. For example, the FL, the federate learning, like the machine learning approach where the model is training across the multiple device on server. How it will work, the model will send each bank a local environment. Each institution trains a model on its private data. Only the model updates, not the raw data, are sent to the back. I'm just cover that one because we have this one on the risk management and we implement that one. Again, The benefit from that will be no raw data leaves at the bank. The other thing also, the scientific data generation. This is also one of the strategic you can use it on the bank. Use all models, example, GANs and all this, and generate artificial data. Then it will train model inside the success. Other one also the secure multi-party of like what Mr. John had mentioned. So I think these three types of strategy, they can use it. And if we would like, we can talk about it. It will take maybe one or more than 1 hour.
Yeah.
But we will go back to your question. Yeah. So just to give them an answer. Yeah. And regarding your question about how the AI distribute the traditional
fintech, yeah,
business, right? Oh,
right.
Yeah. Reducing the reliance on intermediary, I think companies like Strips or Square used to analyze a risk and enabling similar business to enter the market efficiently. The global fintech market spread around 300 billion in 2023. I like to talk about numbers because we need to get the people what the reality exactly. So we need to give them how it's big.
Questions I'm coming.
300 billion to 2003. Yeah, it's expected on of 20% through 2030. The largely followed by UAE in AI. So these kind of things, we can see how the ID distributing the traditional fintech business model.
All right, and there is a great question regarding. It's also interesting. Muaz, he asked about like how significantly business can cut cost using AI. So if you can give any range, depending any industry. So how significant? People want to know how significantly it will cut the cost. So is it small amount or is it a bigger amount, and what it is?
AI can save a lot of things, not only the cost. It can give the cost, quality, time, everything. So once you need to make the AI will say to the cost, yes, sure, it will know once you implement the real AI on your business, so you will do it as specific you can. That's in my opinion.
Yeah.
So,
John?
I'm just going to quickly add to that. Yeah. So recently in the UK, there was something, a regulation that came out, which is APPR, authorized payment fraud, which the regulators. So just to give you a backstory, in the past, when you try to buy something online and you get to use your card. When you use your card, because those payment rails, the big two big guys in MasterCard and Visa offer something you call chargeback. And so if something happens, the person is fraudulent, you can claim your money back. Even if you go back and forth, it goes to pre-arbitration. And also the card rate essentially is a little bit secure. And so what the UK government found out that millions of pounds, hundreds of millions of pounds were being lost in the faster payment space. So fraudsters now would not tell you to use your card because they know you can charge back. They would ask you to do a transfer to an account. And so the UK government came up with regulations that said, as banks, you have to be more responsible. If a customer of yours falls victim of payment fraud using faster payment, you've got 3 working days to refund them fully. And you're going to pass 50% of the cost of that refund to the receiving bank. And the limit was set to £450,000. And I was part of the team working on behalf of my bank with Pay.UK, who are the regulators. And a lot of banks came up, the big boys saying, if I've got 450,000, that's 4.5 million. That impacts my bottom line. And it was reduced to 85,000. Now, in my bank, when we knew the regulation was coming, what we did was get a system, and I'm not going to mention it, it's public, using AI that reduced our fraud hugely. And what we did was add scenarios, right? Train the machine to learn if all payments going out the door from our customers will go through that tool, we would spot things like unusual payment corridors. Have I sent this person in the last 365 days? Tap into something we call Ciphers. So Ciphers is a UK agency that houses fraudulent names. And so it's got millions of data. So if any of your beneficiary has been flagged by any other bank, that data gets reported, and it pulls this data and it blocks the payment. And so what happens is an officer of the bank will now pick up the phone, call the customer and say, are you sure you want to transfer to this person? Are you sure about this recipient?
Verify.
And deadline. And if the customer says, no, transfer my money, because there's something called standard duty of caution. If the customer says, transfer my money, if that money goes out and it becomes fraudulent, the customer cannot claim the money back. So that reduced fraud, reduced our cost, because we're really scared. And that's what I say about partnering with regulators. So sit down with the regulators, see what is coming, and structure your procedures around that. So that's my addition to that.
Right. I think there is no single answer or a specific number regarding cutting the cost. So on one hand, there is cutting the cost. For example, from my investment perspective, and I've also heard like companies are cutting cost by 20%. Some companies are cutting cost by more than 50%. Depending on the industries. But on the other hand, I'm hearing like they are more into customer relationship management. Apart from the cost management, they are into like audience build up and how to track the audience. Those sort of, audience management, customer management, they are more focused. So it's a mix of both, not only just for the cost, but also it is also generating a lot of revenue. And some of the McKinsey that I can remember, like for some industry, it is increasing revenue by 20% or more than that. So it's amazing. Yeah. So we can move to the next segment if Dr. Salem or Diana doesn't have any other comments.
I would like to add one thing. One thing also we can get benefits from AI for related to the cost, like the labor cost reduction, customer service bot, automated document process, robotic process automation, the RPA, the enhanced efficiency and speed. All these things, it can be also get a very good cost for the lower of error rate. It can be low errors, low risk, better decision making. It can also give it overall impact. There is a lot of reports. If we look for it, it can be also on the market, like reskill of the human calibration or the human skills, AI related to the tools and concepts. As what you mentioned, it's different categories, different area where you cannot put it in 1% or 7%. Yeah, that's
great. So yeah, moving on. We have already discussed so many things. So I'm just scrolling what the big ideas are missing. Next is about one interesting question has come up from Mr. Jamil. It's about anti-money laundering issues, AML. We have already discussed definitely fraud detection and also about compliance earlier. So how can we understand if any transaction is suspicious on the first place using AI? So he wants to get an idea like what's the usual process of doing that. I understand like many of the banks, I think, if we compare to risk management or credit, AI is being more used to fraud detection and regulatory compliance nowadays because this is very straightforward. And in terms of like complying with the government regulations or regulatory specific rules, this is very critical. So the question is how actually AI is helping and helping on the detection of the fraud on the first place. So it is more about the methodology.
Yes, I think right now it's more on a pattern. So looking at existing patterns and seeing any deviation, deviation from the existing pattern, but the future is predictive. So it's not only looking at the past history of transactions and detecting any anomalies, like anomaly detecting, but also looking at predictive behaviors and seeing anything that's not aligned with the customer's intent declared when purchasing the service. So that's what I would say to that.
Yeah. John, if you have any comment, you can jump in or I can move to the...
Just one thing. So in AML processes, like in my bank, what we do, and in addition to what Diana said, is to using AI access tons of data, and in seconds it raises flags on. So for example, if a particular name has been flagged somewhere for for example, anti-money laundering, terrorism financing, and all that. This data can access this data. The AI can access this data source and pull it. And so, if there is a narration on the payments, if the beneficiary, if the region, if the country, and there's a lot about risk where you rate them by risk profiles, and it advises the bank, and then the bank has got to sit down and take decisions. Essentially, AI is not going to make decisions; it's going to give you the data.
Yeah.
So access so much of this data you probably would not have. And also partnering with, for example, the Cypher's example I gave, there's millions of data that the regulators have, which you wouldn't have access to because other banks will not give it to you, where you can access through AI, do an API integration, and it would pick on those and flag on all your transactions.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So this is the best part is like this is not manual. So it can be detected on the first place because it is totally automated. And detection is AI's responsibility, nothing else. So yeah, that's the beauty. The next question is my favorite. I was also thinking for it for a long time. Like, what are the main skill sets that we as an investment banker or professionals in the finance and banking field we need to learn, particularly for AI? So people are asking, like, what are the new skill sets and what are the new sets of proficiencies that the professionals should attain, and they should get aware at least to get ahead of the time, because AI is moving very fast and people are like the common feeling is everyone is feeling like what is missing. So what is the main skill sets in your view that the finance professionals should emphasize right now without wasting time?
I'm happy to
think-
go first.
Yeah, please.
Or maybe not.
Yeah.
No, please.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So I feel the most successful will combine digital fluency with human fluency. So top skills for the AI integrated finance leader include data literacy and analytical thinking, understanding how algorithms work, interpret dashboards, models, outputs, ask the right questions of the data and the model, ethical and regulatory intelligence, familiarity with AI governance frameworks, ability to evaluate bias, explainability, and model compliance, knowing where the legal and ethical lines are drawn and how to stay ahead of them. Then human-centric communication, explain AI-powered insights clearly to customers, executives, and regulators, translate complexity into clarity, being a bridge between technical teams and decision makers. Then adaptive leadership and emotional intelligence, managing uncertainty with clarity and calm, navigating ethical dilemmas, stakeholder fears, and digital disruption, leading with empathy in hybrid human AI workspaces. So I feel in the age of AI, knowledge isn't power, but the servant becomes power. That's my take.
Yeah, Dr. Salim, you wanted to add anything?
Yeah, actually, I think the basic understanding of AI and data analytic, that's the more important. Again, like what we said when we were negotiating before we came, the issue is not with the AI, the issue is with us, how to develop ourselves, how to know more about the AI. Again, the propensity tools like Python, Power BI, the advanced Excel, and the critical thinking when the printing AI generating about. We have done with the WBC in UAE a survey. We found that 65% from the global financial leaders and PwC, data analytic would be the most critical skills for the next 5 years in the GCC. So I think we need to focus on that for the critical one or the knowledge one base. We need to think the basic understanding of AI. That's the main thing. And the data analyzement. Then you can go for the advice. You cannot bypass at least the basic things, then we go for the analysis. Yeah, that's what I would like to add.
Actually, the main thing, Dr. Salam, because when we're thinking like understand the basic understanding and data analysis, whether it is enough or not, whether it's missing something.
Yes.
So that's what people are thinking about. John, you wanted to add anything?
Yeah, so I'll give you some examples. So like everything my two speakers have said, data literacy, ability to critically think, understand your market dynamics, customer behavior, how to storytell with data. So when AI gives you all the data, how do you present it, like Diana said, to decision makers and give them a particular view on how to make decisions? And I'll give an example. So about 2 years ago, I was working on a huge data set, and essentially the drive was to how do we go into Brazil market. So I was in MasterCard. I was reporting to an SVP, and the Pix, if you know Pix in Brazil, is a payment platform that is giving the two big boys a run for their money, because essentially it's government backed, so they are not out for profit, and so they were giving most of the same platforms we have almost for free. And essentially, when we crunched the data, and then I didn't use AI, I had a team of data analysts who crunched the data. I remember my SVP saying to me, like Dan has just said, "So, John, what's the message? I'm going to present to this guy. What's the two-line message of what we're trying to do?" And I told her two things. We have to look at what our go-to-market strategy is going to be. We're not going to go into Brazil to say we're going to run for profitability. We're going to go into to gain market share. 1, 2, bundle selling. You're obviously not going to make money with competing with pigs. What other products can you bundle sell that when you look at those customers as a whole, you can? So the ability to give critical information, take what AI has given you, interpret it to actionable data based on actual market dynamics is going to be critical, because the part of crunching data, AI is going to take care of that. The part of looking at patterns, AI will do all that. Your job is how to forecast using that data. Look at what has happened, look at what AI is giving you, and how to adapt that to your market realities, and how to give feedback, how to ensure that the data you've gotten, you translate it to real-time situations.
One related question, John and Diana and Salim. We also see there are some courses in Coursera and also Google and other platforms for basic understanding. I'm especially asking for the bankers. So do you think going through these basic courses should be the beginning point, or are they good, or what's your opinion?
From me, absolutely. Yeah, sorry.
You go, John. You go. I'll go after you.
Sorry, I think absolutely you have to. I love learning, so get as much information as you can. AI is a field that is evolving. We've not scratched the surface yet, and you've got any course that gives you the knowledge of how to live with it, how to use it. Like Dr. Salem said, it's a tool. So if you've got any course, if you've got any learnings, if there are any opportunities at your place of work, if you can pitch ideas to your HR to say we need this, so go for it.
I can share one of the very interesting experiences. Like, since I work with the entrepreneurs, I'm an investor. So one common thing I've seen, like most of the small and medium, and also medium large enterprises, currently they are using either ChatGPT, DeepSeek, plus some CRM solutions like Zapier. And for branding and content design, they are using free peak or some advanced, technology or tools. So people are already aware which tools they should use. Like, this is also already available. The ChatGPT, DeepSeek, then some of the CRM solutions, some of the content design solutions. So it's making the life very easy, particularly in the digital space. This is very encouraging to see. And Dr. Salim, you wanted to add anything?
Yeah, the issue is not when you say starting a basic training, it's not as a basic trainer. When you train a basic courses, it's to know, for example, let's say for the ChatGPT or Power BI, okay, analyze me. Every day something new came. I'm sure there is a lot of things people, even in the financial field, they don't know how to deal with the Power BI. What kind of a question I will ask the ChatGPT to get the answers. These kind of information, these kind of knowledge, it have to, for example, if I want to ask ChatGPT about any rate or any comparison between two companies, what I will ask? Do the comparison. No, I'm not looking for the number. I'm looking for the figures and what is the gap between the number. So when I will know how to deal, how to work with this technology, I will use it in a proper way. So when I said a basic training, not because it's a basic, basic training, it can give me open wild. How can I use it, when I will use it, and where to use it, or through what I will use it. That's what I want to consider after the what Mr. John mentioned. Yeah.
Right. Thanks for the wonderful idea, Dr. Salam. I think we are at the end of the session, so already we are close to 1 hour. Some of the questions are repetitive, so I'm not asking the questions again, but some of the questions are very interesting. And regarding startup. So one question has come up like, what is the best advice for using AI for the startups, particularly in the e-commerce space? So there are many e-commerce businesses that have evolved over the last decade, and now they are facing very stiff competition in terms of like using AI into their daily lives. So what's the best advice you will give to the all those startup e-commerce companies?
I could go first.
Yeah.
Quickly.
Yeah.
So startups in e-commerce have a unique advantage, and that is agility. They're not weighed down by legacy systems, so they can implement AI with creativity, speed, and soul. Now, what's possible and what's efficient is to automate the invisible and personalize the visible, which means use AI for background operations like inventory forecasting, churn prediction, A/B testing, but humanize the front end. Make every email, recommendation, and interaction feel like it knows your customer. Build with emotional loyalty, not just repeat purchase. Train your AI system not to just sell, but to understand. Feedback loops should learn emotion, what brings joy, frustration, confusion. Use sentiment analysis on reviews and live chats to improve product and tone. And let AI be your silent business partner. Ask yourself, if AI were a co-founder, what decisions would it handle today? Give it access to data, not just tasks, and then listen. The pattern it finds can shift your whole model. So
Right.
basically, the takeaway is don't just plug AI, just partner with it.
Mm.
Startups that treat AI as a creative collaborator, not a silent tool, will unlock entirely new frontiers in e-commerce. That's my point. Thank you.
Okay. John?
I would say also to add to that, identify use cases. What do you need AI to do for you? Do you want it to do customer service? Do you want it to do do you want it to do stuff like identifying patterns, predictive? Do you want it to do inventory levels? Identify what the use case and what is the most routinious task you can pass on. Because as a startup, the most important thing you haven't got sometimes is time, right? So you're doing so many things at the same time. You're not a full-fledged organization that's got skill sets in every area. So what are the most routinious things, and focus on you driving strategy, business development, human interface. All the other back office routinious things, allow AI to do the job and focus on getting more customers, driving strategy. And like Dr. Salem said, when you are in charge of the strategy, you know what questions to ask AI, you know how to use it. So focus on the human part, focus on the forecasting, thinking ahead, get closer to your customers, hear their needs, and then come back to AI, like your staff, and say, okay, so these are the knowledge I've gotten. Can you give me predictive analysis based on that?
Yeah, very encouraging. Like it seems like we should use everything we can from today, John. So it is very encouraging. Dr. Salam?
Yeah, I think I advise to use AI for recommendation engine like Amazon, and employ the dynamic pricing based on real time like customer behavior. And the last one, I think, adopt the AI chatbot and enhance customer satisfaction and increasing the conversion. I think these three advices which I felt it very important to start up or set up the business or to share the business with this one. Yeah.
Right. So thank you. I think we are at the end of the session, so there might be some questions left, but I think most of the questions we have already covered in today's session. And if I just summarize over all the discussions, we started from the use of AI in banking and credit, and then we discussed many things like from regulations, compliance, and all the way through startups, and also using AI for e-commerce. So we have discussed within the time frame, and I believe whatever notes we have taken today, it will be highly valuable for the audience, particularly. And yes, this video will be available in our LinkedIn, so that if anybody misses it, it is freely available. And based on that, today we need to close this event. And this is the end of this discussion. I want to thank again Diana, John, and Salem for your valuable words. And I wish you the best. So thank you, all the audience, and we'll see you in the next event. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks.
you, everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone.